So today's recipe that I'm going to make is a combination of a few that have been lent to me, if you like. It's a zingy Balinese curry. It's full of ginger, full of garlic, chilli. It's really quick and easy to make. It's not one of those curries that needs a really long time to develop, which is one of the things that I love. It's in the pan and we're done. And I'm going to start by making my own paste. A lot of people think this is quite difficult to sort of put together a curry paste, and so hence we're all running off buying them in jars and packets in the shop. But they're really easy. So what I've got in my paste today is not a huge long list of ingredients. I've got garlic, I've got ginger, I've got chilli, and I've got a bit of onion, and then we're going to put a little bit of liquid in there. So all I need to do is start off by roughly chopping my garlic. And one of the things that I just love when you go into a Balinese kitchen is that nobody has any fancy appliances or anything. They're pretty much doing everything on a chopping board or in the trusty old mortar and pestle. The good thing about making your own paste is that each curry that you make has its own individual flavour. Because what happens when you go and buy some of those, very convenient, I agree, but some of those shop-bought pastes, all your food begins to have that same base note to it, and I think that can be a real shame, one curry tasting like the next. So that's probably enough garlic. Ginger is so fantastic because not only does it taste delicious, but it's also a natural kind of pick-me-up if you're feeling a bit low in energy, and a really good natural ingredient for getting your digestive system happening. So I like that. And I'm just going to give this a rough chop just to make it slightly easier once I get all of this into my mortar and pestle. Next thing is my little chilies here. I'm using quite a large red chilli today, meaning that it's got a milder flavour to it, because this curry, it's quite delicate in its flavour, as a lot of the food is in Bali. It's very aromatic and fragrant. It doesn't necessarily burn, your mouth off. So I don't want to overpower it with a very small hot chilli. So I've got my chilies, my garlic and my ginger there. Last one is just a plain brown onion. Just a rough chop. So now all I need to do is get this into my mortar and pestle, otherwise known as a Balinese blender. And these are great. Put all of your roughly chopped herbs, spices in there. Salt also really helps with the grinding because it's a little bit gritty in here, so that's fantastic. So now all I need to do is start smashing away in here. One of the great things about making up a paste is that they're really versatile. You can use them for a curry, you could throw them in some fritters, water them down a little bit with some coconut milk or something and call it a sauce. I love that. And they also store pretty well in the fridge or freezer. Now I'm adding some cashew nuts to this curry, and that's both for a flavour and also for a consistency, because nuts are a really good thickener. So I'm using cashew nuts in this instance, but you could use peanuts as well if you want. Now that is looking and smelling delicious. So I'm just going to complete that by adding some of those typical flavours. And the first one I want to get in there is palm sugar, and I'm going to grate that into there. That looks like about enough for me. I'm pretty happy with that. In it goes. So today for my sourness I'm going to use a lemon. Get that going on there. So my final two ingredients that I want to put in there, my soy sauce and my turmeric. Just looking at my consistency here and knowing that I've got those four key flavours that you're after in any paste. The sweet, salty, the sour, and that heat with the chilli. So that looks good, and I can just set that aside. The chicken that I'm using today for this curry is chicken breast, and what I like about using chicken breast sometimes is that it's really a quick one to cook. It's got no fat in it and it cooks really fast, and that's perfect for this curry. So I've got skinless breasts here, and I'm going to just chop them up into quite a small dice. Now what I need to do first of all, for this paste to really start developing its flavour, the idea is to first of all fry it off. And even if you are using a store-bought paste, the key is really to give it a quick fry first, because it really brings the flavours up. I'm using peanut oil today, but you can use rice bran oil or soya bean oil. Just don't use olive oil when you're doing Asian style cuisine, because it's got a really strong flavour to it and it's not the flavour that we're after. Let's get our paste in there and it'll really start hissing. Great. What I've got in this paste is I've got a little bit of sugar and I've got a little bit of chilli, and those are two things that do want to burn quite easily, so hence the reason I haven't got it on a really high heat, just kind of a medium sizzle. All right, in goes the chicken. Okay, now what I'm after is some coconut cream, and I'm using probably about 1/4 cup in here. So this and a bit of water, that's what I like. Now the chicken doesn't need to cook before I add my liquid because it's actually the liquid that it's going to simmer in and cook. And some water. Throw that in. Oh, and that starts to look just beautiful. And it just needs about 10 or 15 minutes now for that chicken to cook through. A really great match for this curry is a salad with green beans and coconut, and I just adore the freshness of it. First thing I like to do with coconut, just to kind of make it a little bit more exciting, is toast it off. You'll really appreciate that new flavour that starts to happen. So what's actually toasting in the coconut there is the oil in it, so do watch it a little bit carefully because it'll burn quickly. That's starting to develop some colour, so I'm pretty happy with the look of that. Grab my green beans. In this case, I'm using some beans that I've just blanched, really. You can get away with using raw beans in this salad if you really want to go for that ultimate crunch. But I like to just take a little bit of that crunch off by blanching them a little bit. And I need to chop these up nice and small. Now to that, all I'm going to add is a red onion and a chilli, and then a little bit of zing for the dressing. I use a red onion for this particular dish because it's got a slightly less harsh flavour than the old brown onion. It is going straight into the salad and it's not getting cooked at all. I want a very, very, very fine chop on this. So I'm just going to add that to my beans. This is an intensely flavoured little salad. So here come the chilies. In we go. So that's my chilli in there. So what I'm going to add to my salad to give a little bit of bite is this rice wine vinegar, just a quick splash, little bit of zest of lemon, a lime, get as much of that juice out as you can, and a little bit more of our sugar content as well, again, just to kind of get the sweet, the salty, all that sort of shebang happening. That should be enough. Bit of coconut. Now give that a quick stir around. That is fantastic. I reckon I'm ready to dish up. What I want is a little bit of this salad just on the side here. Got my rice going on here, and I do like to do this like they do in Indonesia, where they serve it up in a little mound. It's quite cute. It's a little bit sort of kitschy, I think, but it's very neat and tidy, and I kind of like it. Pack the bowl nice and firmly with your rice and then invert it on the plate. See? Not too bad. Now, serving up my beautiful curry here on the side. You can see that it's got just enough juice around it and very intense in its flavour and look. Just going to brighten that up with a nice little bit of garnish of coriander. A few sprigs on top, and there we have it. Beautiful. Let's have a little try. Can't you see? Can't you tell? That is why it's worth making your own spice paste, because every single time you make it, it's slightly different. And this one, the balance is absolutely perfect.